Yeah, my mind was blown this entire film. I was just watching it getting angry, like, I can't believe that this is real life right here. Hey everyone, it's Sharana from Pay Or Waits, and today I'm going to be reviewing Richard Jewell, which is directed by Clint Eastwood. This film stars Paul Walter Hauser, Kathy Bates, John Hamm, Sam Rockwell, Olivia Wilde. It is a lot of people in this film. It's a great ensemble. This film is written by Billy Ray and also to Marie Brenner, who's responsible for writing one of the articles. This film is based off of An American Nightmare, The Ballad of Richard Jewell. And this film centers around American security guard Richard Jewell, who is played by Paul Walter Hauser, and how he saves thousands of lives from an exploding bomb at the 1996 Olympics, but then is vilified by journalists and press who falsely report that he is a terrorist responsible for the bomb going off. And so for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome to Pay Your Wait. I tell you what I liked about the film, what I didn't like about the film, and should you pay your wait to see this film in theaters. So going into what I enjoyed about Richard Jewell, honestly, this film truly does not work without the brilliant performance of Paul Walter Hauser as Richard. He does such a great job of portraying his character, not only looking like Richard Jewell, but also too, he portrays the security guard who has this high regard for law enforcement, who some might, while watching this film, might think that, you know, he might not be the brightest. He might come off as a little bit of a loser and not what you will see as an American hero, as this person. You hear about this security guard who saved thousands of lives, and then you look at Richard Jewell, and a lot of people would kind of feel like, that might not be what I was picturing. But I think that his performance really is brilliant in this film, and really without him, this film truly does not work. Even while watching the film, for me, I felt highly conflicted. There were some moments as I got to learn more about Richard. I can see how he became such an easy target for press and journalists to try to vilify, not to basically, you know, say that it was okay for what they did, but I think that he sells his performance so much that you become conflicted while watching it, you know, and watching how all of these kind of events played out during the course of this investigation with him as the prime suspect. But also, too, what I would have to say is the performance of Kathy Bates as his mother, Bobby Jewell. She does such a great job of bringing the heart to the film, of really helping you understand what this was like, you know, for not only for the security guard who really saved thousands of lives, but what the impact of the issues with the FBI, the issues with, you know, the press, the media, the newspapers, all of the coverage that he got vilifying him. You really can tell the toll that it took not only on him, but on his family as a whole. And I think that Kathy Bates does a very great job of giving heart to the film, of really helping you put yourself in their shoes to see what this family was experiencing during this time. But I will have to give props to Clint Eastwood's direction. He does such a great job in his films of portraying stories of the underdog, these unlikely sung heroes who are really conflicted characters who have dark pasts sometimes, and really makes it hard for you to really understand how they operate as a person, you know, how these heroes, you know, how they do these great things. And I think that this is just a story that is so timely, especially when we talk about the representation of media, of press, and how they handle news stories. You know, while watching this film, I became enraged. Like, I cannot believe that this really happened, that something so simple as if journalists did their jobs, if law enforcement did their jobs, you know, that, you know, they could have done what it took to really put the right person behind bars quicker than how things happen. And I think that with his direction, I think that's what this film gets right. It sticks to the facts of the case. It gives you a play-by-play of things that have happened. And it really shows you the negligence on both sides. This is not just a film against the press, but also, too, it's a film about how poorly the FBI handled this investigation. But going into that does lead me to two of the cons that I do have about this film. While I think that they do a great job of showing the negligence of the FBI and how they handled this case, even though the media is a huge portion of this, I felt as though that the movie could have went a little bit further to solidify his case as where the media went wrong with Richard Jewell. And I think there's things that have happened after the investigation stopped. There is more things of him actually ended up suing some of the stations, had to settle behind closed doors, also suing some of the local publications in Atlanta. I think that they could have done a better job of diving a little bit deeper into that. I think that if we look at this film as a case against both law enforcement and the media, I think that it does a great job of presenting this case against how the law enforcement handled the whole thing with Richard Jewell, but I don't think it completely sells the case for the media, who had a huge part into what happened with Richard Jewell. A lot of things that happened after the charge or after the investigation was over, I just felt as though they could have did a better job of diving deeper into that as a film. And also too, a lot of people are going to be talking about this, and this will have to be Olivia Wilde's character, Kathy Scruggs, who was a journalist at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. She plays a huge part into this case, but there is some choices that Kathy makes early on into the film where I was just like, y'all, like, what was the purpose of this thing happening? Because if it was something that had to happen to later show the negligence of the media and why this wasn't a person that could be trusted, I totally would have been fine with it. But nothing else comes from them showing what happened. And I was just like, was this for theatrics, shock value, just to get people to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this person did this? I just felt like it was so not needed. And if it's something that really happened, that's fine, but like, get to the point of why this matters. What is the relevance behind this? And so I had a huge issue with how her character was portrayed. Even though if you watch old news reports, they do say that Kathy was very flashy, you know, she was very loud and out there, but I was just like, this just wasn't it for this movie. But really outside of those two things for me, I didn't know a lot about the Richard Jewell case, even though I live in Atlanta. I didn't know anything that happened as far as the bombing with the 1996 Olympics. So for me, I found this film very entertaining to watch, very interesting. I wanted to learn more and more and more. And even after the film ended, I was just like, I need to go do more research because I seriously cannot believe that this was something that happened back in the late 90s. I was just so flabbergasted that this was like real life, like that these things really happened to this man. And so for me, what I would tell you guys to do with you and your coins for Richard Jewell, I would tell you to pay to go see this film in theaters. As I said, Clint Eastwood does a very good job of telling the stories of the underdogs. And I will say that Richard Jewell's story is a story that needs to be told. It's a story that's still relevant today. And I think when moviegoers leave the theater, they will feel as though this is definitely a movie that I needed to watch and others need to watch as well. So those are my thoughts on Richard Jewell. As always, my name is Sharona from Pair Waits, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.